Derek Johnson, we called him, he's out with, doing the CURJ discussion. Alexander Aaron. Good morning, Mr. Aaron.
Good morning.
Take a quick look at your citation and go over this with you. So there are two charges for you. There's a charge of possession or consumption of alcohol in public and a charge of possession or consumption of alcohol by a minor. The prosecutors have made an offer in the file for a deferred prosecution. Let me tell you a little bit about what a deferred prosecution means. You're not required to plead guilty to anything. The case gets deferred for a 6-month period, and actually it could be shorter than that. But the deferral is based upon you agreeing to complete an alcohol education class that's determined by our probation staff. So you would meet with probation, they would have you complete an audit, determine what your alcohol or substance use issue was, and then they would direct you to a program that you'd have to complete. Most likely you would be completing it through CU's a program that they have. They've changed the name, I forgot what it's called, but in any event, it's the university's, what used to be Wardenburg is their health promotions division offers classes with respect to alcohol use. You would complete a class through that organization, get us proof that you've completed the class, and then both charges could be dismissed. Although it's a 6-month deferred prosecution, we're going to give you a much shorter deadline for completing the class. And as soon as we have the certificate that you've completed it, we will dismiss your case, both charges, and seal your record. So that's the opportunity that's available from the prosecutor's office. You're likely to hear from the office of the CU Office of Judicial Conduct at some point. Police departments share with the University of Colorado any citation that gets issued to a CU student. So under the Office of Judicial Conduct's authority, they may contact you. If they do, make sure that you respond to that contact, because that's a separate entity that has the authority to impose sanctions from the university. The good news is if you're taking the class for us, it's probably what they would want you to do for them in order to satisfy their expectations at the university. We work with them and we try to make sure that whatever class we offer is going to be similar to what they would want. And so if you're ordered to take a class from us and they want you to take a higher level class, you would take the higher level class, and that would satisfy both courts. You'd give both organizations, us as well as the Office of Judicial Conduct. So you would share that documentation with both agencies, and in our case could be dismissed. There's a $100 fee that you pay the court if you decide to do this deferred prosecution. And then there is a fee when you take the class that's put onto your bill at the University of Colorado. Does that all make sense to you?
Yes.
Now, you're not required to accept that, but that's the option from the prosecutor for the deferred prosecution. You could also have a conversation with the prosecutor today. You could plead not guilty to these charges and set for trial, or you could consult with counsel if you'd like.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Yeah, I would do that.
You want to do the deferred prosecution? Okay.
Yeah. But Mike, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Say I'm submitting applications to go abroad right now and they're due within the next month or so.
Yes.
And there's a question about disciplinary action. How do I go about that?
That's a really fair question to ask. I have to be careful about not giving you legal action legal advice, because it really depends on what it says on the application.
It says even if sealed, so I'm guessing I just have to.
Yes, you would. If it says something that's been sealed or there's any kind of action that's pending, then you probably have to tell them that. I can't tell you how to answer that, because as a judge, I can't give legal advice. You could discuss it with someone on campus. There's lawyers that are on campus, and because you pay fees, you get access to those lawyers at a really very much reduced rate. So if you're interested in having a conversation, even if you decide to take this offer today, you might want to have a conversation with them as to how you fill out that application, and it might be worthwhile for you to do that.
Okay.
Any other questions that you have?
Yes, sir.
But it sounds like you do want to take advantage of this offer from the prosecutor?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so there won't be a requirement that you plead guilty to anything today. We're just going to place you on the deferred prosecution for both charges. And like I said, it's technically for a 6-month term, but as soon as we have proof that you've completed the class, we then close the case out. The key is don't get any new charges between now and that date.
Okay.
It's party season at CU, and people get into a situation like, oh, I got a ticket, and then they forget, or they just don't want to worry about it, and they go out and party again, and they do it in public, and they get another charge. the outcome could be significantly different if you come back with a second offense. All right, so make sure you're thoughtful about how you're going about your business. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Can you pay that $100 fee today?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have you pay that $100 fee today. You'll have the class that our probation officer will advise you about. She'll be your point of contact. If you don't have any other questions for me, I'm going to send you down the hall to meet with her. So you're going to make 2 rights and then a left to the end of the hallway. Our probation officer will call you up. She'll go over all this with you. She'll determine what class for you to complete, and then she'll make sure that when you submit proof of that class, that your case gets dismissed and your record sealed.
And I won't have to go back to court.
You will not. No, as long as you comply and get the proof back to her, and you can do that via email, you won't have to come back to court.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Make your way there. Oh, there's Dari. Yes, Dari, would you like me to recall a case?
Yes, if we could recall Mr. Churchick first.
Yes, Mr. Churchick, if you'll come forward, and if you want to share with me what you've determined here. Dara, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Churchick and I filled out a social security card application.
Okay. And because of this charge does fall under the auspices of the prosecutor's disposition protocols, Mr. Reynolds, any objection to this charge being dismissed?
No, Your Honor.
So this case can be dismissed based on the defendant completing the social security card application. What that means, Mr. Churchick, is the probation office, or excuse me, our navigator is going to submit documentation to the prosecutor's office for them to then, their next step will be to file a motion to dismiss. I'll sign off on that motion to dismiss, which will dismiss your case, and then your record's going to be sealed. If you'll share your email address with us, we can send you a copy of that order dismissing your case. All right, so I'll just ask you to meet with Leslie, make sure she's got a good email for you, and then we'll make sure you get a copy of that order.
Okay.
Thank you for appearing, Mr. Churchick.
We have Christopher Jenkins, I believe. Thank you.
And Mr. Altenberger, are we ready? It looks like we've got gentlemen coming back in who've spoken with Mr. Novotny and yourself.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Mr. Dylan Bettencourt, please, as appearing in person.
All right, Mr. Bettencourt, if you'll come forward again. And I am seeing the deferred judgment in the file. If you want to briefly highlight the process here for us, Mr. Altenberg, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. I have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Bettencourt about his citation. It's my understanding that he intends to accept the DJS offer in the file, requiring him to take the CU Restorative Justice program.
All right, and that's the only condition other than what is a standard condition for us, which is to not have any other criminal charges during the period of the deferred judgment, which would be 9 months. There are a total of $155 in fees and costs that you pay the court for this deferred judgment. There will be a fee for CU Restorative Justice. You probably already just heard that from Mr. Novotny. If you plead guilty to this charge, the case stays open for 9 months. At the end of the 9-month period, as long as you have completed CU Restorative Justice by the deadline that's imposed by our staff and gotten us proof that you've completed that, and then you've gone through that 9 months without any other charges, at the end of that period, we're going to withdraw your guilty plea, dismiss your case, and seal your record. You won't have to come back to court to have that occur. It will all occur administratively for us. But I want to make sure this is something that you want to do, and there's some questions I have to ask you before I accept the guilty plea. But is it how you'd like to proceed?
Sir.
Do you have any questions before I move forward?
No.
The charge that you'd be pleading guilty to is a charge of urinating in public. When you do that, you're giving up your right to trial on that charge. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily?
Yes.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty? Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol? And do you understand this charge of urinating in public?
Yes.
Do you agree that there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
You're doing this without the benefit of a lawyer to represent you. You could hire a lawyer, you could apply for public defender, you could go through student legal services to secure counsel. Are you comfortable going forward without the benefit of a lawyer?
Yeah.
Do you understand that a lawyer, well, first of all, criminal law can be complicated, and a lawyer might do a better job of assisting you and representing you than you do representing yourself. Do you understand that? And you said that you're comfortable proceeding without counsel. You're a CU student, so I assume that you understand all of the things that I've been describing here.
Yes.
I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty. And if we can pull up the summons, Nick, I'll take the guilty plea It is to the charge of urinating in public, which is a violation of section 567 of the Boulder Revised Code. That allegedly occurred August 15th of 2025 at 10th and Pleasant. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept that guilty plea. It will be pursuant to the deferred judgment, so you will have the opportunity to earn dismissal of that charge. There's a $155 deferred judgment fee. You've indicated that you can pay that. We'll have you complete the CU Restorative Justice program. The next step of this process is for you to meet briefly with our probation officer, but I'll have you wait in the back of the courtroom. We'll probably send you back at the same time as Mr. Johnson so that you both can hear the same information at the same time. So let's go ahead and have a seat and then we'll send you back at the same time. Thank you. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Altenberg.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Mr. Derek Johnson, please, who's also in person.
All right, Mr. Johnson, if you'll come forward. Go ahead, Mr. Altenberg.
Yes, Your Honor. I have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Johnson about his citation. It's my understanding that he intends to accept the DGS file requiring him to take the CU Restorative Justice program, the CU commemorating class, and the substance abuse screening and incentive course by probation.
Okay, thank you for that. So you just heard me do this with the other young man, Mr. Johnson. You would be required to plead guilty to both charges, possessing or consuming alcohol by a minor and hosting or participating in a nuisance party. If you plead guilty to those two charges, the case stays open for 9 months. You'd be expected to complete the CU Restorative Justice program, the CU Community Living class, and then have a substance use screened by our staff. And whatever class is ordered, you'd have to complete that class. That all makes sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions before we go forward?
Yes, sir.
You'll have a total of $155 that you pay the court, and then there'll be fees for all of the programming that you'll have to be doing outside of court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial and all of the other rights that I've described. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
The two charges that you're facing are possession, consumption of alcohol by someone under the age of 21. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree that there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes, sir.
There's also a charge of participating in or hosting a nuisance party. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
And do you agree that there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes, sir.
You're doing all of this without the benefit of a lawyer. Are you comfortable going forward without a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that the criminal law is complicated and a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself?
Yes.
I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty. Defendant has indicated, the record indicates the defendant is a CU student, so I believe he does have the understanding to go forward here today. We'll start with count one, and I'll pull up the citation. Nick, if you could do that for me.
Sure.
Count one is a charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol in violation of section 574 of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring May 7th of 2025 at 1135 13th Street. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty, sir.
I'll accept that guilty plea. Count two is a charge of participating in or hosting a nuisance party in violation of section 5311 of the Boulder Revised Code, also allegedly occurring on May 7th of 2025 at 1135 13th Street. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I've accepted those two guilty pleas. We'll place you on the deferred judgment for the 9-month term to both counts 1 and 2. You'll have the CU Restorative Justice program to complete. You'll also have the community living class to complete. And then our probation officer will determine the alcohol or substance class for you to complete. All of those will be due by a deadline that she gives to you. What can happen is you get kind of swept away with what's going on with school and you forget to take care of signing up for all of these and getting them all completed by a deadline. If that were to occur, we're going to be giving you a court date that you have to have everything into our probation staff. If for some reason you don't have that all to her by the date that you're supposed to, you'd have to come back to court and explain why you didn't have it in place. You could lose the benefit of the deferred judgment at that point. So it's really important that you prioritize this, get yourself signed up. I'm going to see hundreds of young people in the next couple of weeks with similar type situations, and there's going to be a log jam at for those alcohol classes. You're kind of at the front end because it's the first docket that we're having for the fall students. If you wait a couple of weeks, you may not be able to get in the class in time. So make sure you get signed up right away for everything, including the restorative justice program. If you don't have any questions for me, I am going to make this all in order of the court. There's $155 in fees and costs. Can you pay those today?
Yes, sir.
All right. Going to send you back to probation. I'll send both you and Mr. I forgot the last name for the gentleman I was just speaking to. Mr. Bettencourt. Okay, so both you and Mr. Bettencourt will send you back at the same time. She may speak to you individually, but she may give you some information at the same time as well. So if you gentlemen will make your way back to probation, she'll be with you in just a few moments. All right, thank you. And then, okay, I wanted to make sure Dara was off speaker with the patrol, but it looks like she is. Tanner Wilson. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Take a quick look at what we have here. Mr. Wilson, there's one charge for you. It's a charge of possession or consumption of alcohol in public. I'm going to take a quick look and see if we've got something in the file. We may well. There is an offer from the prosecutor, so let me describe that to you. You may have heard me talk to the other young woman a few minutes ago who had a similar charge of possession, consumption of alcohol in public. The prosecutor said if you were to write an essay about, and it would have to be a handwritten essay about what you've learned from this process and submit that to them before the next court date that we would set for you, your case could be dismissed. So you wouldn't have a guilty plea in connection with the case. Your case could be dismissed and your record could be sealed, but you would have to write that 250-word essay. So that's an option from the prosecutor. If you decide you want to accept that, we'll simply reset you, and then you could technically would be required to come back to court. But if you got the essay in and your case was dismissed before that, you wouldn't have to come back to court. How would you like to proceed?
If I accepted that offer, would I still have to pay a fine?
No, there's no fees associated with it. It would just be the case ultimately gets dismissed.
And then if I completed the essay before, I wouldn't have to come back to court?
That's exactly right.
Okay, I'll accept that offer.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make it an order of the court. And we're simply going to reset you about 2 to 3 weeks out. And you won't have to come back to court. I'm going to give you the option of appearing by Zoom video if for some reason you had to come back. The odds are that as long as you do what you need to do, I'm going to have the order of dismissal entered and be emailed to you. So we'll want to make sure we have a good email for you before you leave here today. But you can't appear by Zoom video. For some reason, you didn't get the case dismissed. You didn't get the essay done in time, or the prosecutors weren't comfortable with it. You could come back by Zoom video. Okay. Any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so just check with Leslie, make sure she's got email for you, and then out front, they'll get you your new court date.
Got it.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Wilson. David Street.
Yes.
609.
Mr. Street, if you'll come forward, sir.
And it's just one vote?
Yep.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Street, I have one charge for you. It's a charge of accumulation of trash, which is a violation of section 633 of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring August 13th of 2025 at 1618 Pine Street. You understand that charge, sir? Let me just take a quick look and see if I have anything in the system for this case. I do not. So a couple of ways that you could proceed. If you'd like to discuss the case with one of the prosecutors this morning, you could have a discussion with
Yes.
them. You'd like to do that? All right. So we'll have you go with one of them, and then we'll see you back here after you've had that conversation.
All right, let's talk about that. Watching in this session was like watching someone run a classroom and a courtroom at the same time. Firm, orderly, but with an eye on keeping young defendants from tripping over the same mistakes twice. The morning began with facing charges for public alcohol possession and underage drinking. Instead of hammering him with fines, Cahn laid out a deferred prosecution. No guilty plea, 6 months deferred, and dismissal if Aaron completed an alcohol education class through CU's health promotions program. Aaron's smart question about how the case might affect study abroad applications drew a careful response. Cahn couldn't give legal advice, but he pointed him to campus counsel and reminded him that honesty is key when applications ask about pending or sealed cases. It was a practical moment, showing the judge's awareness of the broader consequences these cases carry. E-entity seek urination charge got rerouted into the community court program. Instead of fines, he worked with a navigator to apply for a Social Security card, and once that paperwork was filed, his case was dismissed outright. Cahn explained that the prosecutor would move for dismissal, he'd sign off, and Churchill's record would be sealed. It was accountability by way of life stabilization, not punishment, a subtle but effective shift in approach. Then the D to deferred judgments with entity people, Dylan Ericalty to a urination charge, but entered a deferred judgment, 9 months of clean conduct plus completion of CU's Restorative Justice program. Johnson's case carried more weight, minor in possession and hosting a nuisance party, but the structure was similar. He had to complete restorative justice, a community living class, and a substance use screen. Cahn warned both defendants that deadlines come fast, classes fill up, and missing those requirements would snap the deferred judgment into a permanent conviction. His advice, sign up right away, landed like both a caution and a lifeline. Finally, entity Wilson won essay reflecting on what he'd learned, submitted to the prosecutor, and his public alcohol case would be dismissed and sealed. Cahn embraced the deal, making clear there were no hidden fines or fees, just the requirement to finish the essay on time. For a charge that might otherwise follow him around, it was a remarkably constructive resolution. The session closed with entity Avid Street, 1, charged Wyo meet with prosecutors to explore a resolution. Even here, Cahn's tone stayed consistent, practical, procedural, and patient, moving each case forward while making sure defendants knew their rights and their options. What ties it all together is Judge Cahn's A about punishment, more about redirecting energy. Deferred prosecutions, restorative justice, community service, even handwritten essays all serve the same function: turn small mistakes into teachable moments instead of lifelong records. His courtroom feels less like a revolving door and more like a workshop where accountability, education, and stability are the goals. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one,